Sublime Magnificent.
Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, what is happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent big ugly himself, Omari Ellis Feo Grande on YouTube, back with another episode of This Guy Hasn't Seen. And as usual, I am joined by my co-host and runner mate, one of my best friends in the world, El Director himself, Chill Bill Smith.
Hey Omari, thanks for having me. As always, love being here, love trading these things back and forth in a sea of film and TV that is all over the place, all over the map, covering 40 different streaming services, cable networks, movie theaters. It is really hard to decide what content you can consume, and having the option decided for you sometimes is very nice.
Yeah. Hey, same.
It gets you out of your element. It gets you into areas of things that you may have never watched.
Yeah, Lagan, for instance. I would never have watched that 3.5 hour movie about cricket. You think I would have watched that before we did this? It's a good movie. I don't regret watching it, but it's a 3.5 hour movie about cricket.
Yeah.
It's a hard sell, if you will. But that said, we are back with another episode, and we're still trading things back and forth. And this week, we're watching something that, from my childhood, The Five Heartbeats. Robert Townsend.
The Five Heartbeats from 1991. Rated R? Rated R?
There may have been some fucks in there.
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess. The story of the rise and fall of an African-American vocal group. It is written and directed by Robert Townsend, also written by Keenan Ivory Wayans, and it stars Robert Townsend, Michael Wright, and Leon, as well as many other stars. Omari, was this like a film from your child? Was this a film like your mom watched kind of thing?
Pretty much. So Five Heartbeats, it's been ages since I watched this. I was definitely single digits old the last time I watched this.
Okay.
This is like one of those, because occasionally on this show, the things that I bring in half the time, for those of you who don't know, I go to a particular well to pull movies from because Bill has seen more movies than I have. But this case, it's always been part of the zeitgeist, or cultural talks and references and colloquialisms and shit like that. People referencing the Five Heartbeats. My sisters always would mention Five Heartbeats, Five Heartbeats, Five Heartbeats. They'd be mentioning quotes from it, like the fucking, you want my spot flash? Well, you ain't gonna get it, because you ain't got it type shit. And stuff like that. So over the years, I'm like, okay, Five Heartbeats, Five Heartbeats. And after a while, I realized I don't remember hardly anything that goes in this movie. And half the time when I thought about it, for reasons we'll get into, I got it mixed up with the Temptations movie. The Temptations biopic.
There's good reason.
Yeah, there's one very good reason, but there's other good reasons just in the sense that it is kind of like a take on that. Which we'll get into. But it was one of those things that one of the first things that I remember asking early on when I realized I had that avenue to go down was, had you seen the Five Heartbeats? But I wasn't sure, because it had been so long, if it was something I remembered good or not, or if I even remembered anything from it. And so I was like, which, with it coming out in 91 now, yeah, I definitely would have been single digits the last time I watched the movie. But I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do it. But then we had Hollywood Shuffle on, with Big Bro Ibn coming in.
Yeah, we loved
it. Yeah, so we had Hollywood Shuffle.
Ibn brought that in.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, that's right. I had forgotten that part of it, but yeah. That I remembered that when we were lining this up, and it was like, well, yeah, we really liked Hollywood Shuffle.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? Screw it. 5 Heartbeats is Robert Townsend 2. I'm going to put it back on the list of something to bring up. And I just felt now was as good a time as any. Let's watch some 5 Heartbeats. It's February, ain't it? Sorry, I just thought about that right now as I was talking. I was like, oh,
February,
yeah.
isn't it?
February, ain't it? But yeah, 5 Heartbeats. So, Bill, had you heard of this movie? What were you expecting if you had, or if you hadn't, go ahead.
No. I when the first time you asked me if I had seen this, I immediately asked you. You mean like the Temptations biopic?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have been able to tell you necessarily that was just called The Temptations.
Yeah,
is that the name?
Times.
Is that the name for the Temptations movie? You say no. I wouldn't have known that this existed necessarily.
Yeah, I had asked. That was higher on my priorities because I was like, if I'm going to do 5 Heartbeats, I might as well do the Temptations thing. But you had seen Temptations, so yes. I was like, okay. But yeah, so did you have any expectations or anything, or just pretty much you summed it up?
No, through that discussion, you kind of already had revealed of like, well, it's kind of in that vein.
Yeah.
And so I had that as an expectation. I did not look up anything to know if this was simply just Robert Townsend in this film, or if this was going to be a Robert Townsend film.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that until the opening credits started going. Other than that, I didn't really have much expectation. And so when the movie starts going, and we have the opening of older Robert Townsend, and he's going through stuff, and I already know that this is going to be a the Temptations thing.
Yeah.
My very first note is definitely going to be a flashback movie.
Same. I was like, so it's mainly a flashback.
Yep. All right. So he's going to find something that reminds him of the band, and then sure enough, it's flowing through the mail. And then I'm like, all right, prepare for are we even going to do it where we pan out to the water and the glistening of the water transitions into the past? But yeah, so we get that going, and yeah, so my second note is called it, because pretty quickly we get, he's like, oh yeah, remember when the year was 1966.
Yeah, my second note is pops in all caps and exclamation point. Rip John Witherspoon, always happy to see him on the screen.
Yeah.
And my third note is music used to be so different and happy. Because they were just like having a good time with whatever show they were doing, like a little house show and stuff. And I was like, okay, this is cool. And they're like, where the hell are fucking Eddie and Bobby, for this whole thing? And I'm like, oh, okay, we're looking for Eddie and Bobby. Okay, I recognized a lot of actors' faces, not necessarily their names. Like dude who would eventually go on to be Dresser, or we would find out his name is Dresser.
Harry Lennox. Yeah, he's in
is in everything. A ton of shit. To borrow a term from Prince Hood Cinema, he's a black all-star. A lot of black all-stars in this movie. Just because it's like, yeah, you're going to see a black movie, you're probably going to see this guy, especially from this time. You know what I mean?
136 professional acting credits on IMDb.
Damn.
Harry Lennox.
Damn, I've only got 2. Well, probably 3 by this point. We'll see. But 2. Anyway, so we meet Dresser, and apparently Eddie is late and running late often. So I'm like, so Eddie's gonna be the asshole. And they cut, and we see Eddie playing poker and stuff with another guy, and they eventually find out to be cheating, and they have to run because they're running late anyway. And then we see this dude that my note said, this David Ruffin looking motherfucker coming through. I'm like, this dude looked just like David Ruffin from the Temptations movie. Oh, it's the same dude. It's Leon, who's usually just credited as just Leon. He's the guy that played David Ruffin in the Temptations pick. So not the main character of the Temptations movie, but in terms of what you remember from that, he's the main character of the Temptations movie. So I was like, oh, no wonder he's here. And that immediately made it click why I kept getting this shit confused.
Yeah, he's in both things 7 years apart from each other.
And while he doesn't play the exact same character like I assumed he would, he does play a similar type of character. Mm-hmm. It's just spoilers. The path he goes down in the Temptations, Eddie goes down in this. I'm like, oh, so he's gonna be the drug motherfucker. He's gonna be the guy that gets too big for his britches and everything because he's the voice or one of the voices.
Yeah, they immediately line up in this first show. They immediately line up who our players are. Like we got Robert Townsend, who writes everything and orchestrates the melodies and all of that, is kind of like the band leader de facto.
He's the Otis.
Yeah. And then you got the addict, and then you got the hound dog.
Yeah.
And then one of
you got my third guy.
Right, my third note of the movie, Peanut Head Church Boy. And then my fourth note, once they get going, is go to church. Robert Townsend just like screaming at Church Boy. Go, and then that moment's really good. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, choir boy, fucking yeah. He had a fun role in the movie too. But yeah, it's your classic. We're a group. We're doing dive bars. We get a manager that comes into play, and he's like, "I got one last shot."
Of course, he just wants to do handshake deals.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to mess with no contracts.
Yeah, he's the good old boy, just struggling to make it. You had 5 people tell you no, you've been screwed over a lot. Like the wife at home that doesn't believe in the dream no more because he's been screwed over too many times. There's something different about these boys. If you've seen one biopic, you've seen them all, and that's pretty much what this is. Ironically, I saw later on Google, apparently Leon did David Ruffin after this. Like, this got him the David Ruffin part, which is funny.
No, yeah, they're 7 years apart. The Temptations biopic, what wasn't until 1998.
I always feel like it's so much older than it is.
Well, it's a TV film that was repackaged and presented to all of us kind of as a really long movie on cable television. But originally it was like a 4-night event. Yeah,
it was a mini series.
So, the budget's a little lower than you would expect
and everything's set in the 50s and 60s.
Right. So that combo allows your brain to be like, well, this was right around the same time.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, they got the 5 Heartbeats guy. Oh, sorry, they got David Ruffin to play in this movie that gives it some more authenticity. Type deal. You know what I mean? Let's get the guy that's already been seen in this light and put him in this movie. But it turns out it was the Temptations movie that did that. Because they saw that and it was like, hey, you know who he looked like? He looked like David Ruffin. Bring him in here.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, and there were some shots as well in there's similar moments because I just thought
he also plays Little Richard in the Little Richard biopic.
Damn, this guy does musical biopics. There's a similar moment in both movies where someone is told, hey, assholes not showing up on time to sing, you can sing. And then someone gets ready to sing their part, only for the asshole to come in and grab the mic right when it's time to go live and sing it.
Right.
And he slides in at the beginning of the movie to show you that is what he's gonna be. David Ruffin has a similar moment in the Temptations pick where a guy's getting ready to sing it because Dave's not there. And as he gets ready to go, Ruffin just grabs the microphone. I know you want to leave me. The crowd loses their shit and everyone else is just mad because this motherfucker just got here and you ruined this other dude's moment.
Yep.
So I love the things, but apparently, yeah, it was just supposed to be a parody of those kind of stories from bands and stuff over the years. But yeah, they get, they go through the usual beats. They get the record. They get the record deal from the shady guy that knows the manager, Big Red, and he's like, I don't trust Big Red, but we need money. Let's do it. We'll see what happens. We'll cautiously accept the deal. You know what I mean? We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, let's just pray he doesn't alter it any further. But they go ahead. They start getting the success, and I guess we can jump around because I don't want to go beat by beat. I'm trying my best not to. But
I want to highlight something that I kind of feel like it's not that I don't like it. In fact, I like it, I think, but it's just feels out of place in this movie. And that is the scene with Robert Townsend and his sister at home writing a song. Like, that scene is an actual musical.
Yeah.
Like, we are inside of a musical. And I would enjoy that more. I think I enjoyed that, and I would like if this film was the story of this band's come up, a Temptation style come up that is a musical in the scene like we have here with them writing the song.
Oh yeah, so much.
I'm a lot more interested in that film, and because it's never like that at any other point in this movie, this feels really out of place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will agree with you and almost to a T of like what you said, where it feels like a musical. It's one of my standout moments because I love the idea of them putting the songs together from like all the things he's thrown away, and she's just like, man, if you put this with this, it could be good. She starts off kind of singing.
Can't you imagine that on stage?
Yeah,
like a bedroom set with placed crumpled paper, and all you have to do as actors is just run around and occasionally pick up a piece of paper and pretend you're reading it for the first time.
Yeah, the duet parts with "Oh man."
Yeah, that's so. It's a really good. It's a really good scene number. But yeah, it doesn't belong in this movie. Or they should do this movie around this scene.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing I liked early on was when they get their first show and the people like house rule. It was a competition, and oh shit, what was the name of the group? Because I like the name of the group, even though I didn't necessarily like them.
The competing band that tries to screw them over.
Yeah, it's like Bird and the Midnight something. Oh my god!
Right, because all their they had they had fringe on their sleeves to simulate wings.
Yeah, Bird and the Midnight Falcons. Yes, I love the name Bird. Yeah, I like Bird and the Midnight Falcons as a band name, and they had a funny performance too. And then they tried to sabotage him, and I hated it because he knew the MC, and he had his girlfriend with her group of friends to purposely try and boo the Five Heartbeats. So they were trying to screw him over, but Duck kicking that dude off the piano, just this is my music.
Yeah.
And they immediately win the
and because of that, they get like a bigger pop than they would have if they had just gone out there and performed.
Yeah. And then they decide to switch it up with the acapella thing in the crowd, and they just fucking KO Bird's like or they KO like a bunch of the girls, and then later. Sorry to jump around, but that just reminded me, speaking of KOing somebody, fucking Ruffin later on in the movie when Flash when he was scared or when he was getting jealous of Flash's effect on the women and him like he's ruining this, they like him instead of me. Well, you're still doing your same tired old shit, man. Blah blah blah. And so the next night, fucking Flash goes out there and Ruffin gets out there and just starts like competing with them, and then just ends up speaking of KOing somebody. He KOs the shit out of that girl. Just I'm like, yeah, just put the graphic on the screen.
That's a fatality.
And he walks back on stage and daps up Townsend. I like their brotherly relationship throughout the movie. It's just rocky enough. Obviously, it has its moment we'll get to, but it's just rocky enough to be believable because they do come right back around to numerous times stuff like, one scene, fuck you, let's fight on stage. Next scene, fuck you, let's fight on stage, and we worked it into the routine. Shit, Flash.
So we referenced Flash.
Okay.
So real quick, the biggest turn to get to Flash is obviously you have to have the first record owner trying to screw the boys over and screw the manager over, and him in coerce with because Eddie is going through some problems right now and an addict and super paranoid all the time. Like he was almost not showing up to a show one night, so they almost sang his parts for him, and because of that, in his mind, Jimmy was always trying to replace him. And so his addict fucked up self gets together with Red and they try and force Jimmy out of the band. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Jimmy is like, nah, that ain't gonna happen. I'm not one of these little bitch boys that you hang out of a hotel room. I'll take your ass to court. Next scene, we all know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
You got it opens on a quiet moment of Jimmy at his house. And then he kisses his wife goodbye. And they fucking kill Jimmy. They fucking killed Jimmy. That was brutal. That was brutal.
Yeah, I was upset that with Jimmy dying, but fuck Red and all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then it's just like, part of my issue with this film is they're trying to jam too much in here. And they don't give weight to things, and they transition too quick and too weird. Like Jimmy dies, and then there's a scene at the funeral. Then there's the scene of the boys confronting Eddie. We all know, what the fuck? How could you do this? Well, we're going to make it right. You got to come with us. And then it's immediately a jump cut to years later. Yeah. Red's gone to jail for killing Jimmy. Eddie is out of the band and up and down in drug rehabs and doing drugs.
Casually mentioning him getting shot off screen, and I'm like, damn, they killed Eddie off screen when they first say it, because it was part of a different plot line that had come up because the choreographer I liked the choreographer character throughout the movie.
Oh man, yeah, I loved him when Jimmy first introduced him. And they were like, fuck this guy. And he was just like, here's what you're going to do. You're going to listen to me. And then we're all going to become rich and famous. And then they were like, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, it worked out. But then when they had that scene in the parking lot where Choir Boy is seeing Tanya, I'm like, wait, Choir Boy is fucking Tanya? Oh God. And then I'm like, hopefully this is just a big misunderstanding, because all they did was kind of hug while she was crying. It's not like they were making out in the parking lot. Like dude said, he didn't have any proof that Choir Boy was the one cheating, but he's like, but I'm gonna go get it. And then they drop the thing when he comes on the hotel and follows her, where I didn't even realize his name is Donald Duck Matthews. And I'm like, oh, okay. But when the guy goes, oh boy, I got the 5 heartbeat signature, 2 heartbeats in one night. JT was here earlier. Who's Ruffin for the folks at home. And he realized, Ruffin's the one cheating with my girlfriend.
Ruffin for the folks at home. A character name from a different movie.
Well, technically a real person, but yes.
But yeah, that has another confusing layer to it. You say to the folks at home like that, like this makes sense. Like this makes sense that you're not calling him Leon or his character name in this film that we're watching.
I'm sorry. I've seen.
You're calling him the name of the lead of Temptations because he played him in a movie.
Yes, and he was one of the house that like.
No, yeah, he's absolutely the lead. He's the reason why that film is. I mean, I'd have to watch it again. I'm seeing on IMDb it has an 8.4 rating. Like I remember watching it and it being good, but damn.
That's a high rating, damn. But no,
Yeah.
I'm not arguing with the rating, but it's also like I'm surprised that it's that high as well. But yeah, and you're right. Like he has a I don't know. He just has a quality about him, like when he walks in, especially with both characters. They look the same. It does not help. Like his character in 5 Heartbeats, from the hairstyle and everything, to the point that even in a couple scenes he does the fucking head wrap thing with the wrap something around his head and tie it in the front. He does that in both movies as well. It's practically the same fucking character. It's very hard to see him as a different thing.
Doesn't he have mustache and glasses in the Temptations?
Doesn't he have glasses
or is that
in
a
this
different?
one? Doesn't he have glasses in this one?
No,
No?
I don't think he's ever wearing glasses.
Oh. Okay, there's the difference.
I may be confusing. I may be confusing a different Temptation.
You might be
in the
right.
Temptations.
You might be. You might be right. No, David Ruffin wore glasses. That's a thing.
Okay.
David Ruffin, facial hair, glasses. He may have been shaven without it, but at least the hairstyle's the same. I don't know. It's very hard for me to see him in another light. When
the end of the movie, he's got mustache and glasses. When Duck reunites with him,
okay.
I'm pretty sure he's got facial hair and glasses in that moment.
Fair enough. That's probably where it just revisionist history in my mind just. Okay,
right.
Yeah, the cycle's complete. That, and I was watching the movie the whole time with the idea that somehow he had done Temptations before this.
Right.
And so he was called. So everything he did in this movie to me during this time watching it was a callback to his Temptations movies. Like if he had something similar. Oh yeah, they're calling back the Temptations scene. Not realizing Temptations probably had 5 Heartbeat callbacks for certain shots. But yeah,
no, you reference the hotel room thing.
Yeah,
that's pretty much that's the big climax.
Mm-hmm.
Is Duck just finds out that his wife, I mean, on fact level, what's going on to Duck? His wife is lying to him, and her and his brother are in a hotel room right now.
Mm-hmm.
That is enough to be really, really upset. He thinks that there's even more than that is not going on upstairs.
Right.
In reality, it is JT confessing his love, because this is it's again, we're covering so much,
yeah,
and there's not enough exposition for what's going on here. But Duck has eventually started a relationship with JT's like teenage off and on girl, young 20s, whatever age they are supposedly when this thing is starting.
Yeah,
when the flashback starts, and so they're about ready to get engaged, and JT is confessing his love, and then we see old girl being like, "Nah, man." Like,
yeah, she's like, "I love you, but I'm in love with Duck."
Yeah,
and she's like, "That's the difference." He's like, "Well, you gotta tell him the truth." No, I don't. And so
we don't really have the weight, because
the closest thing we have is an earlier scene of when they announced the engagement. JT is unreasonably upset.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Because now you can't do Shy Brother anymore? because that's their little gimmick. The whole movie is like they got a routine they do. It's like get help for Thor and Loki and Ragnarok. They have Shy Brother, where hey, see that guy over there? That's my brother. He's shy. Get his number. And that's when I really thought.
And then JT takes it.
Yeah, the first time they do it, that's when I really was like, okay, so JT's gonna be the asshole because he's cheating on his girl with the Shy Brother thing. Because I think he's sitting at the table with his girlfriend at the time, having him do Shy Brother to get somebody else's phone number. And then later they try to switch it up and Towns is just all like, come on, let's do it. Hurry up, let's fucking do Shy Brother. I want to get this girl over here. He's like, okay, well, look shy. Goes over there, he's like, yeah, my brother's shy. He's a fucking dweeb. You want to get out of here with me? Yeah. He goes over, I lied. Wait, what? I'm like, damn. But that plays into his philosophies later when he's like, oh, my brother who's been the same selfish motherfucker his whole life. Stuff like that. It's like, yeah, petty shit like...
I am not surprised at all that now he's trying to fuck my fiance.
Exactly.
Or fucking my fiance. How Duck probably feels. And then that's kind of the end in many ways. Like, we have 20 minutes left in the film, but that's pretty much the end. Like, we then get the awards moment, which I guess they're having a banquet for them finally getting a gold record, which is not a humongous achievement in the world of, I mean, it's an achievement, but like the film is proposing them to be well-established musical veterans at this point.
Yeah.
If this is the gold record moment, and they don't directly say that it's not their first, in fact, they kind of imply that it is, it seems a little strange. Like, you should be a multi-gold record kind of thing.
I'm not
You're
sure.
on a Where Are They Now on the cover of Rolling Stone.
Yeah, they're on all kinds of magazines. My thing is, I didn't take it as their first gold record moment. They probably did say that in the scene. I just thought it was like some kind of like lifetime achievement award that they got, as opposed to a gold record. It might have had a gold record shape of trophy, because clearly they're holding gold records. I'm not saying you're wrong in that.
Right, no, yeah.
But I took it as more of a lifetime achievement. I had assumed, like you did, they would have had, with how big they are, they would have had more gold records by then.
Yeah, it kind of depicts. Yeah, I would think so, but
this movie, like you said, not enough real exposition. They're just trying to get to the plot points themselves.
And so in this moment, Flash and Duck quit the band. Flash is going solo. He even promotes his record as he's walking away. He's like, so check out the new album coming out February in 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah. This is so fucked up. And then fucking Duck's like, I'm out the band too, because blah, 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 blah. And he's like, we don't need to do this here. We can talk about fuck off me. And then they don't talk to each other for years.
Yeah. It is implied that then we go back to the first moments of the film.
Yeah. And he gets so some things that happen, like you mentioned Eddie getting addicted up and leaving the band because reasons, or because obvious reasons rather. And I mentioned him being shot off screen, like on his way to the hotel to find out about Tanya. The radio mentions that Eddie King has been shot.
Former Five Heartbeats member Eddie King is shot with an apparent hold up in a convenience store. Yeah. In critical condition.
Yeah, so I'm like, damn, they killed Eddie off screen? Damn, that is a fall from grace if I've ever seen one. But damn, that's I was like, that's a cold, but I guess realistic way of depicting it. Like, sometimes when you fall from grace, no one cares when you die. It's harsh, but that's life. Yeah. So I thought that was an interesting way to do that. But it turns out he gets invited to Choir Boys Church. Choir Boys, choir man. And he's in the choir now. And, oh no, he directs the choir now, I think.
Yeah, like a couple of pieces of mail right after the magazine that led us to seeing the entire movie. There is a letter from Choir Boy that's like, "Hey man, it's been a long time, but I put all of my earnings into investing in my father's church, and we're having this really big, like, kind of grand reopening event, and I'd love for you to come out. Plus, I got a special surprise for you." And in that moment, I was like, "All right, so either that's the brother or." That is Eddie reformed.
Yeah, my thought was brother being there, but it ended up being Eddie reformed and singing in the choir for the church. He's 12-step program at Narcotics Anonymous. So he's turned over a new leaf, and doing so, he convinces Duck to talk to JT again. And when he finally does, he sees JT has 2 kids, and the son is named Duck, after his brother. So even though they had that argument, they had made that pinky swear earlier in the movie that the first one to have kids names one of them after the other. And so he did. Despite their argument, he's like, "Hey, you're still my brother at the end of the day. And that's what matters." And that little gesture there is like what I'm talking about. Their relationship was just rocky enough to be realistic. Like, I don't have any blood or brothers by blood. I have siblings, well, I guess I just kind of ruined, just spoiled what kind of siblings I have. But I have siblings, but I don't have any brothers by blood. But I have many figurative brothers. Yourself one, or not figurative. That sounds fake. You know what I mean. I consider you a brother. Jazz, Ibn, etc. We've had rocky times. As close as we are. Yeah. We've had some rocky times.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is a realistic thing, and I love the way their brotherly relationship is portrayed in the movie. And so I liked that little touch. But yeah, and I think they end with having a big barbecue and doing some numbers, like the old men at the group. Let's show these kids what real music is. 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, what dances should we do?
They just look like old men.
Yeah, which is funny to me. But which, if they did only have that one gold record, that would also make sense why they're just like this small house, just, all right, heartbeats. Let's remind them what we used to do back in the day. Where it's like, okay, yeah, they were a band, but they weren't like, if you got the Temptations to end their movie with something like that, which you couldn't, because
do we know
realistic.
how far ahead it's been? Because Robert Townsend isn't in a small house. True. So I would imagine they're depicting that he went off to be like
a writer.
Yeah. I picture his character just being a musical publisher, which means he's making some big ass money.
Yeah, he went off to do something big. You're right there. It has. It's been years, because what's his name's got 2 kids and he didn't have one.
Right. It wasn't even in a relationship.
Yeah. So it's been some time, and both those kids one is older than the other, and she's old enough to be like, "Hey, get back here." So and so. So been about 6, 7 minimum years.
Yeah.
But yeah, but other standout moments from the movie, I love the hallway scene where Dresser announces that the girlfriend got pregnant. Because it's right around when the movie, we're starting to show everybody's changing and shit like that. Because Choir Boy, his parents don't like him singing because it's against religion. Again, classic movie music trope. One of the people in the group, their parents have to think music is of the devil. It's just always a thing. And he symbolically leaves a Bible at a payphone when he's yelling at his parents. I thought it was just like, oh shit, this is going to be a plot point, and he's going to be like, oh shit, I left my Bible, I can't do this. But no, it's more meant to be symbolism of him being like, yeah, I'm going against my parents' path right now. Because the next scene we have like, oh, Choir Boy's in the room with a girl. Choir Boy's in the room with a girl? And then Dresser comes out, mentions that his girl is pregnant, and they have a really good heartfelt moment. And even Eddie, because it's like Eddie ducking him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Eddie ducking him, and I'm thinking Eddie has a chance to turn stuff around. Or it's like, damn, Eddie has his issues, but he clearly cares about the others like that, because he's the one that's like, hey, no, you get to stay in the group. We will pool our money together however we need to. Heartbeats for life. Also, the first time they did Heartbeats for Life, I'm like, the classic trope. Every band does it, and it always ends up being something where y'all are gonna break up later and probably quote, Heartbeats for Life. I think Temptations did that too. Are we supposed to be Temptations forever? What about that? I'm sorry, I keep drawing the similarities with that. One thing I thought was a funny returning gag throughout the movie alongside Bird and the Midnight Falcons was the Five Horsemen. The white group that they initially tried to give their music to, and then laterly it became Bird and the Five Horsemen. So they all just got, or no, sorry, wasn't Bird, it was Flash and the Five Horsemen.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, Flash and the Five Horsemen, all right, sure. Big Red showing up to the funeral trying to pretend like he claims.
And then straight up propositioning Mrs. Jimmy right there at the funeral is insane.
Right?
It's insane.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, man. He's dead right behind you. He's not even like, it's been a week. He's just like, if you need anything. It's like, you're the motherfucker who killed him. Or got him killed. But, yeah. So, that was a scene. That was pretty funny. But, yeah. Something else. Oh, I was like, when they were singing in the room together, him and his sister, I was like, some families get all the talent. Because like we've mentioned, I think, on other things here or somehow, that we know someone who's in one of those kind of families where everyone in their family is musically talented.
Uh-huh.
Shout outs to you. You know who you are. You lucky bastard. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I was like, that's cool though. Because that girl, I thought she would end up being a bigger part of things too. Like she'd have like a side story with a solo career. His younger sister, because she was singing her ass off.
Yeah, never comes back.
So I like your idea of like if they would have made this more of a musical and gone down that route, it definitely could have enhanced it. But yeah, anything else you want to? I think I mentioned everything else, kind of.
Yeah, I would say we could bridge into final thoughts on this. I'll jump in. It's not unwatchable or anything like that, but I found myself continually frustrated with this film.
Okay.
Because I like the players in it. The music is good. It's just so paint by numbers on the plot, and then they don't like they want you to be so emotionally invested in that hotel room moment, but like we talked about, don't give it the proper weight beforehand for us to really feel and know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little tough in that regard, and some of the things are really rushed out. Like I feel like, all the disrespect to Jimmy in the back half of this film, like he didn't even exist.
Yeah.
The second his funeral is over, goodbye Jimmy.
We ain't gonna mention him aside from let's yell at Eddie.
And then yeah, it moves too quick while being too slow at the same times. And I was excited the second I saw the credits go up and that it was going to be a Robert Townsend film, because we did like
Hollywood Shuffle.
I almost said Hustle and Flow. I don't know why. We did like Hollywood Shuffle so much. But yeah, I was left disappointed, but not necessarily upset that I watched it.
Okay. That's, in all honesty, like I said, part of the zeitgeist for years. 5 heartbeats. And I hadn't remembered anything. Rewatching it, I'd see why. Like I said, a lot of the main memorable moments. There are some funny moments and stuff, but it's not that quotable of a movie when it comes to the funny stuff. Like, it's undeniably a funny movie. It's just not. Damn, so. Like, the only lines, we quoted a few of them, but, like, the Flash line always sticks out. You ain't gonna get it, because you ain't got it. Type shit. But, yes, and I agree with you. It's a good movie, or it's a good movie that could have been better, but is weighed down because they tried to do too much. And ended up being paint by numbers because they were trying to do so much. They could have been a more unique take on it. What I did like is that all the members of the band are alive at the end and could at least reunite to chill and hang out and be friends. It's a lot happier of an ending than most of these biopics turn out to be.
Other than Jimmy.
Other than Jimmy. Yeah, it's like that's why I said the five of them. But like shit, spoilers to the Temptations, but I mean it's based on real life. But it's like the exact opposite, where there's only one dude left at the end of Temptations, because all five of them at least get to live at the end of this one. But yeah, we do sacrifice Jimmy, but they needed some. They move right on from Jimmy to the breakup over the girl, where it's not like even a breakup over the fact that they lost Jimmy in this Big Red thing. Yeah, it's like we lost Jimmy, but then we moved on to another record company and went even bigger because we got Big Red arrested.
Right. No, yeah. It was just that was told to us in a news article flash on the screen, and then.
So yeah, it's a good movie brought down by the fact that it tried to do too much in an inefficient manner.
Let me ask you something. Where was Eddie Griffin in this film?
Eddie Griffin was in this film?
Eddie Griffin is in this film. According to the IMDb trivia, this is Eddie Griffin's first film.
Well, in first film fashion, I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, he must be hiding somewhere in a group.
Mm-hmm. But that's cool.
Oh, I just saw it.
That's cool. Eddie Griffin's awesome.
He plays a ventriloquist?
There's a ventriloquist?
What?
There's a ventriloquist?
Maybe it's at one of the shows they go to. In the background, there's a ventriloquist.
I guess.
With a dummy. And that's Eddie Griffin?
He had to have had his scene, like, the part that focuses on him cut out or something. He might have been in the background. Because I don't recall a ventriloquist, let alone
Doesn't
Eddie
necessarily
Griffin.
mean he's talking, even though this is his first film.
I know.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Be on camera.
That's what I'm saying. He could have had a scene where he talked, but for time they cut it. And then he's still like in the background and stuff, so he still gets credits.
Yeah.
So that could be it. And yeah, that's crazy. Interesting. All right, so that is the 5 Heartbeats. Worth the watch. Ain't the best though. I don't know when I'll watch it again. Probably be ages again. Probably just look up clips at this point.
Yeah.
But it is worth the watch at least once. Yeah, so what are we watching next week, Bill?
Well, Omari, I had something picked out.
Yeah.
I took a moment right before we started and I picked something out.
Mm-hmm.
But then 5 minutes into our recording, I changed my mind.
Awesome.
Because we were talking and I figured out something that's more a call and response to yours in a fashion of early 90s film my mother loved.
Okay.
I watched it. I have not seen it in quite a long time. And it has heart in the title.
Oh.
We are going to watch 1993's Heart and Souls. next week.
Heart and soul. Da, 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 ba, da, ba. Heart and soul. Da, 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 memories. Ba, da, 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 da. Yeah.
Heart and souls plural.
Heart and souls.
Well, there's a distinction. I wouldn't be surprised if Heart and Soul is a film as well.
No, that's fair. Heart and Souls from 90-something.
1993.
1993.
Right here on This Guy Hasn't Seen.
That's
also
right.
on the Feo Grande YouTube network, you can check out our show, You Don't Watch Sports, where we sprinkle a little bit of sports information into your conversation, give you that guiding light through the sea that is sports talk. It's really cool. We cover 3 topics every week. And if you're not that much into sports, or if you're a little bit into sports, or if you're in a lot into sports, I think it covers all bases, because we try and stay pretty general, pretty like the big topics of the week. For like, you know, if you're going to a bar, what are the people at the bar going to be chatting about sports wise? It's gonna kind of be these 3 topics. But then also you get some pretty direct opinions from sports lovers of me and Omari that I think would satisfy a lot of sports heads out there. So yeah, check it out. You Don't Watch Sports here on the Feo Grande YouTube network.
Yes, sir. And you can also find me elsewhere on YouTube on the Whatever We Want podcast. New episodes every week, every Wednesday. I do it with a good friend of mine and good friend of the show, Super Jazz. And we
Super Jazz.
Thank you very much.
I didn't plan that out well. I had a mouthful of liquor.
That's fine. I was like, you know what? Mouthful of liquor, we go move on. But yes, as we said. Anyway, yes, we talk about just that, whatever we want. And I also have a Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi. That is GIOTAVI. Come on in, stop on by. I'm streaming a lot more in 2024. Check it out. Yeah.
My boy Platinum.
Yeah. Diamond. Yeah, we hit
Diamond.
Yeah, we hit Diamond right around the new year, the second day of the year. Yeah.
I just recently saw your clip of ending your stream making platinum.
Okay.
That's what I had in my brain.
That's cool. We take those two. That, like I said, oh yeah.
What?
Nothing. We'll wrap it. I'll tell you in a second. But yes, we'll see you guys later. Adios.